What do you see when you look in a mirror? Maybe your best silly face? Maybe your best family picture smile? Maybe you see that face you make when your mom wakes you up and you're still really tired. Whatever you see, did you know that you are a mirror? That's right. God created you so that you can be a reflection of Him to everyone you come in contact with. He made you to look like Him. Now, I'm not talking about what color your eyes are or the shape of your mouth. I'm talking about the way you treat other people. When you choose to do the right things, you are showing other people what God looks like. For example, if you see a friend and they have on a really cute new outfit and you say, "Oh, I love your outfit, you look so great today," you're showing them a reflection of God's kindness. When you choose to do an art project, you're showing an example of God's imagination and God's creativity. If you settle a disagreement between your siblings, you are showing an example of God's peace. God created you different than the rest of His creation. God created you and me and all of us in His image so that we look like Him to other people. That means we have a pretty big job to do. That means that the way we treat others really matters. If you've been watching the videos the last couple of weeks, you know that we've been talking about the creation story that we find in our Bible. At the very beginning of our Bible, in the New Testament, that very first book is the book of Genesis, and that is where we find all of the details about the creation story. On last week's video, I showed you a cool little tool that I like to use called the creation arch that shows how God spent the first 3 days of creation preparing the space, and then He spent the last 3 days of creation decorating His space. And today I want to talk about us, His last creation, human beings, and how He made us different. The Bible tells us that God took extra time when it came time to create humans. He took His God hands and He formed the dirt, and then He did something very special. He didn't do this with any other creation, but He took that dirt that He had formed and He breathed His very own God breath into Adam, the first human. And when He did that, God's image came inside of Adam. The goodness, all of the goodness of God was now living inside of Adam, and that same goodness is now living inside of each one of us. That's why it's so important that we act and treat others in a way that's a reflection of God. He created us on purpose. He created us with a plan. He created us so that we could do His good work and so that we can look like Him to everyone that we come in contact with. So, how do you know if you're doing a good job of looking like God, of looking like the God that lives inside of us? If our faces look like us, but we have God's goodness living inside of us, and it's up to us to decide how we look like God, how do we know if we're doing a good job of looking like God? Well, I have a little way that I like to measure how I'm looking like God, and I use my tummy. I use the way I feel in my belly. And if I feel good about something, I know that that is from God, because the Bible tells us that God is good. God is only good. So only good things come from God. So when we choose to do something good, we're choosing to do God through us. If I feel kind of yucky in my tummy about maybe the way I treat someone, or maybe the way I act when no one's looking and I feel kind of about it, then I know that there's no bleh in God. God is only good. And so I trust that I have that good feeling represents God. And the bad feeling, if God is only good, then we know that when we're doing something that we really shouldn't be doing, that means that we're not doing a good job of looking like God. It's up to us to choose. He gave us that ability. God gave us the ability to decide. I want to read you this verse from Jeremiah that talks about how God already knew you before you were even born. Does that blow your mind a little bit? That God knew you before you were even born, and He had plans for you from the beginning. Listen to this from Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed you in your mother's body, I chose you. Before you were born, I set you apart to serve me. I appointed you to be a prophet to the nations. That tells us right there that God has a big plan for our life. It's up to us to decide how much we want to serve Him, but He has plans for us. He wants to use us to show His reflection to everyone we come in contact with. Do you remember our family challenge that we've been talking about this month? As we've talked about the creation story in the Bible, I wanted your family to get really creative, to come up with a creation innovation family challenge. Have you started that yet? Have you started thinking about it? Have you started gathering supplies? If you haven't, don't worry, it's okay. It's not too late. You have plenty of time. But I want your family to create something unique, to create something special. And then I have a list of questions that I want you to answer about it, because we know that God did all of this creation work, but He did it all on purpose. He did it all with a reason. And I want your special family creation to have, I want you to think about some of those same things that God had to think about when He was creating all of the earth. I also want to remind you that at the end of August, on August the 29th, we're going to have a special family event here in the parking lot. Your family will have its own reserved square where you can hang out, and I want us to show off our family's creations. I want you to bring your creation that you've been working on and bring your list of questions and show all of us what your family has created. I think it will be a lot of fun. We'll have some sweet treats here to keep us all cooled off, and I think it'll be a great time for us to see each other in person. Now, we're going to follow some rules, so just prepare yourself for that, but we are going to have a great, safe, fun evening together here in just a couple of weeks. So get busy on your family's creation innovation. Use your imagination and really think about what you can create. We know you can do it because you were created by God in His image. You have all His goodness inside of you, and one of His good things is creating. And so get busy and create your family's thing and prepare to come hang out with all of us in just a couple of weeks. I can't wait to see you. Until next time, I want you to think about how you are a reflection of God. When people see you, what do they see? Do they see God's goodness? It's up to you to decide.